some crazy shit to bring to air, but I don't know about bringing to air. It's insane. I like my daughter's school. They're going to the Israeli embassy.
What? That seems like a risky move right now.
Yeah,
It's not great. Are they going to go anywhere near any of the Gulf Arab embassies?
I'm not
They're right around the corner.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Plus, traffic around the Israeli embassy sucks usually. Up on Van Ness,
yeah,
terrible. Oh. It is 9:30 on a Thursday night, and you are tuned in to Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing. And this is Chip Chat. Welcome to Chip Chat, everybody. I'm Chip. Who are you, Tez?
You just stole him, buddy.
Good evening, and welcome back to the war. It's on again, I guess.
Yeah. The last update that came in is just, but no, it's the rare ceasefire that continues with firing.
Yes, it's one of those what do you call those things? Wars. Yeah. No, I mean it's a ceasefire that isn't.
Yeah, it's
a mirage of a ceasefire.
It's like cease, like we'll say it, but we're gonna keep firing.
It's like those couples, you know, who are married but like clearly don't like each other. Like, you know, you know they're married, but they're not really married, you know.
No.
Yeah. So it's like that. Hey, cool. That's great.
Fun times.
So, good times. Yeah, I wrote a whole show yesterday.
Yeah, it's different.
Doesn't seem as relevant, but
no.
We're gonna do it anyway.
We're gonna do it anyways. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
it'll be new to me.
Yeah, Tess is our best audience. He's always.
I'm learning all of this for the first time every Thursday.
That's hilarious.
I'm just joking, kind of.
All the kind of. All right. Well, I guess we will get to those things.
Yeah, of course.
Before we do some headlines, but yeah, welcome to a special edition of Chip Chat, where we're not only just under occupation, you know, by our own troops in our own city, but the full force of the police state is coming out to silence critics. We don't just mean Jimmy Kimmel. So we have all kinds of real stuff we're going to talk about. And we have several main topics tonight. We've got the police state, the state of the war, and the state of the Gulf. So you can figure out what we're talking about there. Yeah. State of the war is changing. So we'll have to cover that. Also, we're still working on ChipChatistan. So if you out there would like to help us run the GoFundMe, you can be our Chancellor of the Exchequer, I believe is the way your people call this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct.
Yeah. And you can be as corrupt as you want. I think that's fine, really, as long as we end up with enough money to get to a microcon and back. I think those are the two criteria. We want to go there and we want to come home. Other than that, I don't think we have any. There's no other criteria really for our exchequer.
No.
We don't have any like real currency to manage. You can make up the currency. You can. Well, wait. Does the exchequer do the currency, or they just do the like fiscal stuff?
Come on, man. You know, Federal Reserve type dude, Treasury dude, man. I don't know about this fool year. You expect me to know about this stuff that's going on over there? I'm an American. No.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't actually know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. sure some type of finance minister has to be.
Yeah, they
right?
say finance minister sometimes, but like there's no
It's-
American equivalent of finance. I guess we have like treasury secretary.
Yeah, that would be the finance minister because they all have they have an independent Fed in a sense.
Well, they have the central bank.
Like, yeah, it's independent.
But,
Shouldn't
so
be-
that's like their Fed.
yeah, it's their Fed.
And then they have but Exchequer is also like second in command behind the PM, right?
I believe so. Yes, I believe that's correct.
Yeah. And then there's like interior, or I don't. You know what? We won both of those wars. I don't have to know that stuff.
I'm like, yeah,
So-
why? And I as I looked that up, yeah, the Exchequer serves as the state central treasury. So yes, you're correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you can do that or not. I don't care. We just need help doing this
We're not
because I don't
having
know how to do it.
Exchequer. All right, no, we're not.
And you can pick a title, I suppose. We just need help. I can't do it. I'm overwhelmed already. I have too much to
Right.
do. Yeah, I have to write the show. I have to book all the guests. I don't think there's anything else. But no, Brian does all the editing.
Yeah.
I have to do all the posting and all the social media. I'm our social media department, if you can believe that. So, yeah, I need some help. And nobody else on the show is going to help. Everybody else who's on the show is maxed out in their capabilities to help.
Maxed out.
So we need somebody from the outside.
Yeah. I might need next week off.
Of course. We'll call the green collar folks and see if they want to.
Me, nigga.
Speaking of which, it's
Christ.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Brian just he just told us.
Yeah, way to go, Brian.
And then they go.
All right. So do you have yeah, we're gonna do headlines also. Do you have a word? I've got one.
I got a word. Yeah.
Relevant to my real life, so I'm gonna use it.
Hopefully this all works.
We'll see what happens. All right, we're gonna take a little break. So sit back, grab some
Pandemic.
It's commencement time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
It's back. Whoops.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping, everybody?
All right, so look, we're gonna do the headlines. This is I think the part of the show that people most look forward to, and by most I mean that it comes first.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it's in the beginning.
It's in the beginning. So, and that's the part where people are still listening, and then they leave. I think. Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe it'll get so big that we can put it in the last 30 minutes. Right? Once it's so big,
30 minutes.
And then we'll have, what is it? TSL, time spent listening.
Yeah.
All the things that if I could really sit down and put some time into this.
If only you could put some effort into the show. But yeah, we could have 2 hours of people listening getting to the headlines instead of 2 hours after.
Crazy to not have the headlines at the beginning, but it would be very funny.
It would be very funny.
Very funny.
But before we do that, just to let everybody know, so we mentioned that the war's kicking back off. It appears that Iran has forgot the central tenet of don't touch their boats. I don't know how online everybody is, but there is this pretty decent joke meme about how America's military will tolerate a lot, but they won't tolerate anybody touching our boats. and by boats they mean ships. And they're talking about, like Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and we went absolutely nuts and nuked them, and that there's other instances where somebody has attacked a U.S. ship and we have responded like the Spanish American War, remember the Maine, or the USS Cole, or anyway. So there's this joke about this. The Iranians shot at some of our ships there in the blockade, and since we're pretending blockades aren't wars, we're also pretending that this exchange of fire,
right,
munitions, but fire, this exchange of fire is still a ceasefire, in that it ceased after it exchanged and everybody stopped shooting to reload, I guess. I don't know.
She's right. Alternative facts.
Yeah, right.
She was right.
So anyway, just to that's fast moving. That is happening now. So we'll try to keep you updated throughout the show. All right, you ready to do some headlines?
There'll be a deal by the end of the show, I promise.
Yeah, right. Of course. We've got the framework of a deal, concepts of a deal,
Concept
of a plan. It's fine. All right. You got the first one. Them's the rules.
So. Here we go. This should be fun. I think this will end up very hilarious. Trump announced that the U.S. Navy would help ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz, but out of deference to Melania, he isn't using the word escort.
And yes, we're implying that. Come at me, bro.
Him.
Don't worry. They know who does the show.
Yeah.
All right. Several hours after announcing the escort mission dubbed Project Freedom, Trump reversed course, just like all the ships in the Persian Gulf.
There you go. Pete Hegseth gave a press briefing to describe how the mission to run the blockade wasn't that, but had to stop because the phrase run the blockade was what his frat brothers called him when he was on a date.
Yes. No, good. Pete, no.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry. Should have read ahead on that one. Hegseth also expressed regret that Iran could possibly expect to get bombed again, and he could not until Friday.
Sure, until Friday. All right. Oh, this is a nice long. Oh,
this is one.
Hilarious.
You got to do the voice.
Excuse me. Let's do this. Epstein apparently had a suicide note, which the New York Times reported reads, quote, Trump was totally innocent. I, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with small hands, much smaller than Trump's hands. I alone did all the raping. And I made Trump take a cognitive test and he aced it many times. And then I told him he was better looking and smarter than anyone I know. And he said, I know because he's so smart. His uncle was a teacher at MIT. So he knows about only good can happen.
It can only good happen.
Exactly. Get the duck.
A man was shot and captured by Secret Service agents after the man took a shot at J.D. Vance's motorcade. No word on how Mr. Pence is doing.
Jesus Christ. Earth is going to experience a record large El Nino, which is what Trump thinks happened at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes. I don't like that El Nino. He's out there with the hippity hop. All right. The warm waters off the South American coast will impact weather patterns, including here in the States, prompting Marjorie Taylor Greene to claim that El Nino is in fact Jewish.
Be observing. Ted Turner died this week. And to honor him, the Braves have continued to beat the living daylights out of the rest of the NL East. Might still have the best record in major leagues, probably.
I think they're still ahead by a game or two. But they're on fire. Ted Turner gave us CNN, TNT, and several other three-letter names for things that we hate, but that we have to watch.
Yeah, Turner was known for his environmental activism and as the mouth of the South, a title now held for different reasons by Lindsey Graham.
You got all the good ones tonight. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is restoring their training program to the original length, 72 days to be exact, including a new course on how to walk on actual ice without slipping.
What? Okay. All right. Also included in the new training are courses on gun safety, how to tie your shoes, and whether an object is your ass or a hole in the ground.
And finally, Senator Susan Collins of Maine announced that she has a benign essential tremor, which explains her physical shaking, but not her moral inconsistencies.
Yikes.
Hey, what's she going to do? Come and get me? I have stairs. That's going to be enough to stop her.
Enough.
What? She's 70,000 years old. Also, we need term limits and like age caps. Need these old people to go. She's running for her 6th term.
Yeah.
Six as a senator from Maine. There aren't even as many people in Maine as there are years she's served in the Senate. That's a problem.
I agree.
So there. Tess also likes to make fun of people with essential tremors. That you heard it here.
No. That's not what I agree.
He said I agreed. Yep. That's good. I'm gonna get one now. I know that's what's gonna happen. All right.
No. No.
No.
Like that's gonna stop it. No.
Yes. Tez has discovered a new form of medical treatment called wishing things wouldn't happen. Turns out that was all we needed all along.
Was it a hantavirus? Is that what's out here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay,
no.
The hantavirus.
Hantavirus. No.
People are like, oh, it's going to be another pandemic or what. It's not. It's not a thing you can pass like person to person like that. You get it from mouse droppings. It happens on cruise ships. But it only ever happens on cruise ships.
It only happens on cruise ships. But if this thing mutates where it can go to person, for God's sakes, please.
Sure.
No. If yes. I don't like again. I just feel a certain way about these damn viruses. And I was telling someone though, it's like, we escaped a lot of these pandemics before we actually got one. Because you think about like the bird flus and the swine flus, like there were a few of those that popped up. Ebola scared everybody. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That was crazy. Like when they sent the person to like Atlanta or something, like they went like
Fauci saved a bunch of people in that one too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we dodge these a lot of the time. But I don't right now, again, as we talk about a lot of things right now, this administration doesn't give you any hope. Like, even though it's not even, but like if something did happen, like we've been down this road before.
Yeah, it's reasonable to be more terrified of what would otherwise be a bad but handleable situation, because I think a lot of people don't have any confidence that there's any grown-ups in charge anywhere. Yeah. So, what would you do? I mean, imagine a situation where it starts to get out of control and RFK Jr. is like, well, what we need to do is go get raccoon penises and grind those up and rub them into our eyes, and that'll solve it. And then like real states like California or something go, no, we're going to use like public health, and Trump like drone strikes them for saying that. That could happen. That could be a real thing. Like think of the dumbest possible outcome, and that's a possibility.
The remedy is to go in and actually eat rabbit poop, and that will cure it as an antidote.
Yeah, I mean, that same guy wants all the black kids reparented or something because he thinks everybody's on Adderall. Yeah, on farms.
Happy farms.
A specific kind of farms there, Bobby? Wow. Yeah, I don't know what to do about him. That's
work out in jeans.
Right, work out in jeans. That'll solve everything. It'd be a real shame if like Trump's final way of destroying this country was to just let Kennedy do it.
No, I see this guy getting fired.
Oh yeah, well,
I don't know when. It's coming soon. I don't know what it's gonna be, but he's coming. I see that coming soon for him.
He's violating the central tenet of being in the Trump cabinet, which
Yep.
is thou shalt not take up more attention than the president.
Yep.
And he's getting too much attention, and Trump doesn't like it when anybody else gets any attention. So yeah, I think you're right. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Pin in that. We'll come back to Kennedy's ruining this country. It's only happened a few other times. Depending on who you ask. Yeah, we got thoughts. All right, you ready to take a break?
Let's take a break.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got a new segment called Political Retribution. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
New segment. Clip.
Before you hit that door, baby, you better check that curl. Cleavon told me so. Alarm clock ringing, sunlight on my face. Can't step outside with the curl out of place. Mirror say, player, better tighten that loop. A dry ass curl, brother, that ain't the move. I need that drip, need that shine to behave. Need my curl looking slick as Rick James. From the roots to the tips, let it flow like truth. Ain't nothing popping till I grab the juice. Oh, African berries, juice is so pure, curl so full, yeah, it's blessed for sure. Prince Hakeem dreams in every strand, but without them chemicals messing up my hands. Get the juice, get it, to keep your curl loose. Strip so clean, shine so smooth, one splash hit and you know the truth. Get the juice, to keep your curl loose. From the crown to the roots, ain't no curl curling without the juice. Keep your curl the juice. Unfiltered water, straight from Lake Victoria. Tanzania minerals, bring the curl euphoria. Hit it once, 5 to 10 minutes strong. Then evaporation, say player, you've been warned. Summer heat, turn curls to an afro quick. So keep a bottle close, yeah, that's the trick. Reapply on the go, keep the motion improved. Stay glossy all day with the juice. No harsh chemicals, no itchy scalp, no greasy couch stains. Don't mess up my headrest, man. Just shine, luster, and drip, and drip, and drip. Oh, get the juice, get it, to keep your curl loose. Let it sway, let it shine, that curl pattern working overtime. Get the juice, to keep your curl loose. If your mirror smile back, yeah, you already know the truth. Keep it for the truth. The juice.
On the magnetic elevators. Think of it, magnets. Now, all I know about magnets is this. Give me a glass of water. Let me drop it on the magnets. That's the end of the magnets. Why didn't they use John Deere? Why didn't they bring in the John Deere people? Do you like John Deere? I like John.
Welcome back.
Hold on. No. What the fuck?
Here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tess. Wait,
What? What is that?
did you forget about that?
Well, I did forget about that.
Yeah, Trump thinks that magnets don't work in water.
What?
Okay, what is he actually talking about?
The wet magnet, right? Is it like if there's something that doesn't work though? It doesn't not work.
Of course, magnets work through water. That's a dumb thing to say. What he's talking about is, I think he thinks that electromagnets, which is how that elevator on the aircraft carrier works, are not like resilient enough because electricity can be damaged if it gets wet,
Right.
which would mean that none of the parts of the ship would work because there's a lot of electricity involved in modern ocean-going vessels, of course,
And it sits in water.
and they sit in water. And you know, as somebody who works with electricity on a regular basis, it's true that it's not great to get your stuff wet, mostly because you can get shocked
Right. I thought that was
pretty easily.
Yeah.
But no, that's not how there is nothing that works the way he says it does. And that's a good example.
Yo, an electric eel must like flip his ass out.
I would bet he doesn't think they're real.
Right.
He's like, it's a democratic hoax.
Hoax.
It's it has no electric eels.
Completely submerged.
Marco's our secretary of eels. Marco, have you ever seen an electric eel? And Rubio would be like, no, I've never seen an electric eel. Whatever you say, sir. That's Marco. Look at his shoes. They don't fit. I made him wear those shoes. You know, and then, I mean, I don't know. This song is a good song, and Brian adding things to the end of it now has become a good bit.
That is
so
a good bit.
It's good. All right. So let's get into this, one of our three main segments tonight. So when Trump took office the second time, he promised that he would exact retribution on his perceived enemies. He has increased the pressure on those enemies in much the same way that his fat ass has been increasing the pressure on his chairs. And much like those chairs, Trump is threatening to punish Trump is threatening to punish things, and like the chairs, they've largely remained standing, albeit on shakier legs, while Trump's fake FBI spends months investigating seashells. All the men in the Epstein files remain at large, like our Commerce Secretary, and they're likely committing more crimes, and some are now committing war crimes, like Trump, because he's in the files and he's doing the war crime. We're talking about Trump. Trump is in the Epstein files, and he's a war criminal now too. He's all the criminals. I think he's done the white collar crime. He's done the
state crime, federal crime,
local crime,
crime, international crime.
He is, yeah. He's like the IHOP of crime. You know, it's like flavors from around the world. You want a war crime? We got that. See, like some countries just have, you know, like grifty leaders who like raid the treasury and stuff. We've got one of those. But he also does all of these other kinds of terrible things, like bombing schools. So
IHOP.
International House of Crime. There you go. Brought to you by Mar-a-Lago.
You heard it here first, everybody.
Mar-a-Lago, or as we like to call it, IHOC.
IHOC.
The International House of Crime. Yeah.
Also the White House.
Yes.
Now turned into the International House of Crime.
Yeah.
Supreme Court. Also another International House of Crime, which is weird, to be honest, because it's the judicial.
Because it's court. Yeah.
It's
It's usually
court.
where you go after you commit the crime.
Commit the crime. And Congress, well, they don't do anything.
Yeah. They can't be blamed because they
Right.
haven't done anything.
Done anything, yeah.
Ever.
They're absolved.
This Congress has set a record for the least like actual bills
Bills
passed.
passed.
And the record they beat was themselves from the last time. Like Mike Johnson, tremendous in his ability to do nothing. Nothing. Not a thing.
Nothing.
Yeah. Bet his fake son loves that. All right. Anyway,
Oh God.
let's talk about these weird retribution things. So here are some of the retribution highlights of our newfound police state. And when we say police state, we're talking about something. There are a lot of people who would say, well, America was always a police state. Yeah, okay.
Yes, for some. Yes,
For some
I would-
people,
yes, yes, that is a good point. Like fascism has at certain points always been here in certain areas. We're talking
Yes.
yes. This is now a different, like the actual not focusing, I would say, on specific groups Yes, they are, but like it's more omnipresent, I would say.
It is more omnipresent and it's more overt. I think is maybe the part that is because we're used to there are people who have said things like, well, I don't want to talk about things because I fear, getting fired or whatever, or I don't want the government coming after me. But I don't think they really meant it, for the most part. We now have a president who is open about using the power of the federal government and the DOJ to target people he doesn't like, to target his critics. And that's a confusing thing in a country that is built on free speech. So,
undercuts everything.
Yeah. So here's example number one, this case against the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, full disclosure, I am a monthly sustaining giver to Southern Poverty Law Center, have been for years. I think actually since a little before Trump won and Trump 1.0, I should say.
Yeah.
So it's going on like a decade now, and they do great work. And just to explain sort of what SPLC does, they're in Alabama. They were sort of set up during the civil rights era or a little after, and they keep an eye on hate groups and extremism, specifically racist extremism in the United States and around the world. And they report on it, and they often do a bunch of the lawyering on behalf of people who have been the victims of this stuff. Or another thing that they do, spend a lot of time doing, is dig up the information on these hate groups and then pass that over to law enforcement, whether it's state, local, or even the FBI, which is a lot of what they do. And part of how they do that is they pay informants, right? They'll infiltrate clan groups or whatever, and they'll be like, hey, Billy Bob, do you want to make some real money? And Billy Bob is like, oh yeah, absolutely. I have none on account of illiteracy. And then they would be like, well, here is $5. Can you name everybody at your little hood party? And he'd be like, yeah, for sure. Here they are. And then he gives them a list, right? And then they go, thanks, Billy Bob. We'll call you next week. Right. And then they just keep doing that. And they build up these massive case files. And I don't know, for like 35, 40 years, they would take those files once they got them built up, and they would just hand them over to the FBI and be like, here you go. We did a lot of your work for you. Go get them. Right. And then the FBI would review it. They would find all the things that were definitely criminal activity and whatever. And then they would bust up a Klan group or bust up a cult or extremist group or whatever. And then they would hold a press conference and take all the credit for it. And Southern Poverty Law Center would be like, hi, good job, fellas. And then they would just go on and do more of that.
You keep doing it. Yeah, the cycle continues.
Keep doing it. And they've been doing it for a very long time, which is a little confusing why this happened. The Justice Department announced with great fanfare a series of fraud charges against the storied civil rights group that has angered conservatives in recent years, but the unusual nature of the charges could present challenges in court, especially for a department already under fire for targeting the president's opponents and critics. So one of the things that is inconvenient for Trump is that those files about all the racists and violent extremists that Southern Poverty Law Center keeps compiling contain all of their people. And for an administration that the first time around said all the Nazis in Charlottesville were very fine people, you could see why they don't like any of this. And so, including like Southern Poverty Law Center had named Turning Points as like a hate group and so, which they are. I don't think there's any reasonable disagreement. Have you ever heard anybody quibble with any of this stuff?
I mean, yeah, I would say Turning Point folks would tell you that it's about opening up dialogue and things. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'll even go with you with that to say, yeah, it's that. And it's racist and misogynistic and homophobic, right? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, you might want to open up dialogue, but it doesn't change the other things. So what? Yeah. No one's arguing that. No.
Yeah. And so Todd Blanche, who is the acting attorney general, and again, who you may remember as having lost the court case defending Trump in New York,
Todd
where
Bleach.
he was convicted of 34 criminal charges. Remember, he does all of the kinds of crime. It's IHOC.
IHOC.
Yeah. He announced the indictment April 21st at a news conference. And he said that the SPLC was not dismantling the extremist groups. Blanche said it at a news conference. It was instead, this is really incredible, manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred. So
it's like a false flag, basically.
yeah, kind of. In the Trumpista version of the world, the Klansmen aren't Klansmen. They're not.
Right.
They weren't gonna like already be in the Klan, and there were no Klan.
They were
group.
provoked by agitators.
Yeah. So like a bunch of otherwise decent and definitely not racist guys down in Alabama or wherever were hanging out, and then the Southern Poverty Law Center's dangerous blacks and Jews rolled up, waved some money at them, and told them, "Hey, wouldn't you guys like to go burn a cross?" And they were like, "But good sir, we have no idea what a cross burning would signify, and we certainly don't have any interest in doing that." And again, in Trump's version of this, the Southern Poverty Law Center guys were like, "Oh, well, it means that you hate black folks and you want to scare them into leaving town." And they're like, "But good sir, again, we don't hate the black folks." And the and then the lawyers would be like, "All right, well, here, if we give you $50, will you hate them?" And they were like, "Sure, for $50, we'll pretend to hate them."
What
And
about
then,
saying the word? Are you gonna say the word?
Yeah. Okay, here's 25 more. Will you say the word now? Yeah.
The word now.
No, hard R. All right,
Hard
10 more.
R.
Here's hard R. Say the word, and then we're gonna write it all down and hand it to the FBI and tell them that you're the real extremist.
Right.
It's a crazy idea. Crazy.
It is insane. It's insane.
And some of the laws that they're using to charge these crimes, first of all, have already passed the statute of limitations on the things that they're alleging, which is funny. But it also is like some of these are the anti-Klan laws, and that's very funny. It's not funny. Okay.
No, every law that has been used to help black people, or really anybody going forward now at this point, anybody in this country, which are most laws that help black people, they help everybody else. That's what we're trying to tell everybody. But all of them now are being reversed, like and used like it's insidious. That's the only word that can describe how they're taking laws that again were meant to help black folk and flipping it and saying, no, this is affecting white people.
Yeah, the real racism is the anti-white racism.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. If you can't, oh my God. Okay.
It's insane. It's in like an type of Inception almost.
Yeah. So one of our favorite names is back in this story, Natalie Baldessari. Bald ass Airy, I think is what we ended up calling her. She's back because she's a spokeswench for the DOJ. And so spokeswench Bald ass Airy said that the grand jury had indicted the Southern Poverty Law Center on 11 counts, and that they've only heard a portion of the evidence, and that the government remains confident in their case, that they've got more to show. But then if you go further into this, some of the folks who are like, "Hey, I don't think this is a great case," again, we're at a point where it looks like maybe the prosecution was very selective in what they told the grand jury and excluded exculpatory evidence. So that would be pretty open and shut.
Because some of these grand juries haven't, like, usually you can get the grand jury to go, like, most times, but there have been a few cases where the grand jury's like, nah, like,
nope.
They're not doing, nope, exactly, like,
nope. Yeah, but this isn't one of them. This is the you can indict a ham sandwich sort of deal.
Right.
So we'll see how the ham sandwich does in court. I'm gonna bet I'm just saying that, like, you've got the Trump DOJ lawyers, all of which are like stacks of failures on top of failures, that they make Rudy Giuliani look like alive, I guess, or healthy. But that versus like good lawyers who have won in court a lot of times. So we'll see. Stay tuned. This one's called Of Course They Did. So you may remember, I don't know, several months ago, that there was a shooting in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, where the ICE agents shot a guy who was outside protesting their arresting of abuelas and children. And they were like, hey, guy who's walking around here, come here. And then they grabbed him, jumped on him, and shot him in the back like a dozen times. And it was terrifying and scary, and it ultimately cost Greg Bovino his job and contributed heavily to Kristi Noem getting, what's the word they use for the horses? Put out to pasture. There you go. Where she and Corey Lewandowski can ride her husband's balloons. I don't know what's going on with
I
that.
don't know, man.
That's the whole thing, right? Are we worried about her? Like for her own sanity or safety, or do we not care because she's not really a good human?
No, I think she'll be fine.
She'll be fine. Good answer. So, okay. So that happened, right? And the guy who got shot, his name was Alex Preddy. And as it turns out, he was a nurse in the Veterans Affairs, in the VA, and pretty well regarded one, I should say.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who might not have had any interest in any of what Alex was protesting or the immigration stuff or ICE or anything like that, right, were justifiably unnerved, sad, shaken, whatever you want to call it.
Like you killed him. Like it's one of those like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. It's like, you okay. Now, what people might not know if you haven't experienced it is that the VA is a massive organization.
Yeah.
And
Huge.
the Trump administration has they fired like 30,000 people from the VA. That's just from the VA. And it's like a tenth of their workforce. I don't know. They're just an absolutely giant agency. Next to DOD, I think they're the second largest agency
It has to be, yeah.
in the government.
And again, rough reports on here, somewhere like 40,000 at one point in 2025.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people who work there, and their primary job is to care for veterans. And one of the ways that they do that is with the VA hospital system, which there's mixed opinions about, but generally speaking, does a pretty good job of taking care of veterans in various ways. And part of that is due in no small part to the staff there, to the nurses and doctors and practitioners who work.
To be clear, to your point earlier, they lost up to 40,000 people.
There you go. Yeah, I think they had almost like 500,000 people who worked there.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So around the country, VA field hospitals, groups, whatever, local offices, again, of which there are really a lot of, hundreds of throughout the country, they held vigils and meetings, or I don't know what to call it, but like gatherings, right? Where people could come together
to memorialize them. Yeah.
Yeah. To memorialize Alex Preddy and to, sort of grieve, right? Because one of their own had been killed unnecessarily, in much the way that people hold vigils, like, let's say a priest was killed in St. Louis, right? And then like churches all over the country hold a vigil. They're not connected to that particular priest, but they share something in common and whatever. Okay. Or the way you see used to see vigils for school shootings, but now those are just like,
normal
Friday Night Lights. But anyway, so guess what happened with these VA vigils and grieving sessions there, Tez? What do you think happened?
The police showed up?
Not quite.
Not quite. They didn't get arrested. What could have happened? Did they get? Hold on. I'm not sure. What? They don't tell me they got sued by any chance. Did they get?
No, they got collected up on a list and investigated by the VA and DOJ. So basically, what happened was this person, Becky Halioa, I guess. Becky.
Yeah.
Becky learned that she was under investigation by the same government that had shot Alex Preddy. Her supervisor informed her that an internal probe had been launched into whether she violated agency rules regarding employee interviews with the news media probe that could result in disciplinary action. Becky was not alone. Several sources familiar with the matter told CNN at least 3 other VA employees have been investigated for their interactions with the press, including at least one other related to Alex Preddy, according to one of the sources. As part of their investigation, Becky said investigators emailed her photos of herself at the vigil from the news, which also included
not how that works.
Interaction with the local newspaper. So basically what happened was the vigils took place. The government counted everybody that was there, whether they saw them on local TV or they figured it out through social media or anything else, put them all on a list, and then initiated a retaliatory investigation looking for criminal charges against these people who were doing something that is constitutionally protected. Then when we say this is a police state, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Where what Becky and her friends were doing is not only perfectly legal, but expressly protected by the U.S. Constitution. And the Trump...
Some might say encouraged.
Encouraged by the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
It is one of the things that the colonists fought the war for, the right to peaceably assemble and seek, petition the government for a redress of their grievances. That was the whole point. Hey, we've got grievances. And the king was like, fuck your grievances. And we were like, no, we're not even like burning stuff. We just want to like talk about this. And the king was like, no, fuck you. And you're talking about it. And then we're like, all right, well, I guess we are going to burn stuff.
Burn stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Tea party. Okay. Like that's what they were doing. And this is the retaliation. When we say we're in a police state, what you're seeing here, and this is just one story. This is just the second of our 4 stories that we have on this. This is the federal government using its investigation and prosecution capabilities to attack their critics who have not actually done anything illegal and have done things that are expressly protected. They are expressly protected for a reason. What used to happen, right? Why do we have this First Amendment? Is because when people would say, hey, man, I'd like to fix this, the response from the government would be, okay, I'm going to throw you in jail for saying anything. And in this case, we were like, no, that shouldn't be it. People should be allowed to say things no matter what, as long as they're not harming anybody. These people were definitely not harming anybody. They were hanging out, talking to the local news. And instead, now they're being investigated and prosecuted. VA Press Secretary Quinn Slavin said he could not, it's also a great name, Quinn Slavin, said he could not comment on Becky's case, citing privacy concerns. Oh, now we care about privacy. Interesting. Here's the quote. Ready? Privacy laws prevent VA from publicly discussing specific details about its employees without their written consent, he said in a written statement. He did not address more general questions about the VA's media relations policy and how often it conducts these type of investigations. Federal agencies typically have rules that limit employees from talking about their government role or department in media interviews while allowing them to speak in a personal capacity. In some cases, Trump administration officials have taken a hard line against federal employees talking with reporters at all in what they call leaks. If the reporter goes, why are you here tonight? And Becky goes, well, it's because, one of my coworkers was shot and killed, and I feel sad about that. That's not a leak. That's the thing we all saw live on television. There's no leak there. She didn't be like, yeah, I'm here because the password to our file room is 12345, and I think that should be changed to something a lot more secure or something like it. No, that's prosecutable. That's definitely not a thing you should do. No, that's not good. So, when you hear like reporters go to some place and they go, yeah, we're only using their first initial because they fear retaliation by the government. And you're like, wow, that must be a pretty scary place where you have to like hide who you are just to say anything.
Right.
You live there now. That's your home.
Yeah.
Yeah. No First Amendment, I guess. Let's focus a little more locally, shall we?
Okay. Let's go.
So I live in the Commonwealth, as you know, and we've done some things here in the Commonwealth recently. One of which was like reject this dumb idea to move the caps to Alexandria. That was not going to go very well. Spearheaded by former Governor Glenn Youngkin, who is a big Trump fan, supporter, friend, I guess.
Yeah.
Although he claimed that he was not, but he definitely was. And then there was this redistricting thing that just passed. There's been some other kind of big deal stuff that happens in the Commonwealth regarding civil rights and like voting access and gun violence prevention and all of this stuff. Well, there's many people, but there's somebody who's kind of like the spearhead of a lot of that stuff, right? And her name is Louise Lucas. She is a state senator from Portsmouth, Virginia, which is down in the Tidewater. She is the Senate pro tem, actually, of the Virginia State Senate. And she is a firecracker of a lady. Let me tell you, she does not hold her tongue on anything, especially on Twitter, where she will routinely drag and outright challenge Trumpistas for all kinds of stuff. And that's a big problem for the Trump people. She's also 82 years old, I would point out. So again, to the idea of like age limits, just wanted to point that out. That might be a thing. But anyway, yeah. She what happened to her, Tez?
This is the cannabis dispensary, right?
Yeah, she has she does own a cannabis dispensary.
The FBI did something, right? Did they not raid the offices of this? Is that the right one?
They raided her office, house, and cannabis retail business that she co-owns. Yes. Yep. They smashed it up and took all her stuff. The specifics on the probe, what they're after, unclear. Officials who spoke on condition of anonymity, there you go, to discuss details of the investigation. That's what we call a leak. Said it involved allegations of bribery related to the cannabis dispensary. One of those officials said the investigation began during the Biden administration. What do you want to bet it didn't? That's like
not taking that bet.
Yeah, incredibly common thing that they say when they're like, look, we're just following the law. It started under the Biden administration. No, it didn't. A spokesperson for the FBI's Norfolk field office declined to comment, except to say that agents were conducting, quote, court-authorized law enforcement activity and that there was no threat to public safety. It means they got a warrant, which is that's a big step for them.
Yeah, they usually don't get those.
They don't usually go that far. But what's really going on here? What are they really doing? Why are they really going after Louise Lucas?
She's black.
Yes, and
she's a woman.
And
what's our third one there? I'm assuming she's went at because she goes at the president, right?
And she's loud.
Yeah.
So it's all of these things that they don't like. And so they are like, that's it. We're going after it. They're like, get the black one. It's not good. And it's clear. It's clear as day what's happening here, right? This is not. here's a tweet that she wrote back in September of 2024. You ready? Donald Trump has shit for brains and it oozes out of his mouth. After last night, everyone knows. There you go. That was like after one of the debates.
Debates. I was going to say that's a debate.
Yeah. I mean, she just had like good, but also not good.
Not good too, yeah.
What's actually happening? What can we say here?
About her specifically or all these stories?
Well, about this story, because we got another one that's
There's
even
one more. I was
hyper-local.
like, yeah. I mean, I actually, if we go through I have a more larger thought on all of these.
All right, you want to get all of them together and then go after it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's add one more story to this, which is even more hyper local. So there's the Commonwealth, right? And then within the Commonwealth, of course, we have counties, and the county, biggest county in the DC area on the Virginia side is, of course, Fairfax. And Fairfax, we have a Commonwealth's attorney, right? Just like every so in other places you have a district attorney. In Virginia, you have the Commonwealth's attorney. They're the like top law enforcement. They're the top prosecutor within a county, right? In Fairfax, we have this guy called Steve Descano, who I met actually when I was voting for him. I don't know, 2 cycles ago or 2 of our cycles. He's been reelected once as Virginia, as the Commonwealth's attorney in County Fairfax. He's by and large done a pretty good job. I don't think there's a lot of people who would say otherwise, at least amongst the residents. But there is some criticism about him that he's what the Republicans like to call weak on crime, which means that he doesn't indiscriminately throw non-white people in jail. And he does like to use programs to try to route people out of jail and through, systems and programs that are maybe less harsh, but also have outcomes that are more beneficial to the community as a whole. One of the things
crime like the Pope, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's soft on crime like the Pope. One of the things that we know is true is that warehousing people in criminal justice system doesn't really help anybody. It's expensive as all get out, and it produces no positive outcomes for anybody on any side of the equation, whether it's the victims, the community, anybody.
And not this administration, but the last Trump administration, even though they repackaged an Obama bill, they passed one of these law. Like they passed this. They understand that as well. At least yes. I think when it comes to locking up black people, I think they figured that piece. They're like, we warehoused you enough. Now we're going to warehouse these immigrants, but we'll still warehouse you too, just in case,
Yeah, but they learned this important thing is that white people buy a lot of weed too. And so
around weed specifically, yes.
Yeah, and they're like, well, we got to stop locking up all the dealers because the white guys are mad that they can't get their stuff or whatever. So, okay. So Descano basically has run on a platform and has won, I should say, twice on a platform of diverting things out of the prison system or the jail system and into rehabilitation systems countywide. And you can think of these things as like, okay, what has the most benefit to the community as a whole? Is it really to the community's benefit to just punish the shit out of somebody for what they've done? Or is it to their benefit to rehabilitate that person so they can go back to working and being useful and paying taxes? And so it's the second one, right? Yeah. So the Justice Department hates that, of course. So the Justice Department announced Wednesday that it has launched an investigation into the Democratic prosecutor of Virginia's largest county, following years of complaints from conservatives that his office is too lenient with criminal defendants who are in the country illegally. Harmeet K. Dillon. I don't know what that spelling indicates, but I guarantee it ain't good old American. An assistant attorney general, and this is my favorite part, head of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, said it at a news release that her office sent Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Toscano a letter notifying him of the investigation. In a statement, Toscano acknowledged receiving the letter, but defended his policies. He said, "My policies are fair, legal, and reflect the values of the community." Didn't really have much else to say about that. He was kind of like, okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, what's the investigation? What are they going to find? Now, what are they going to manufacture is a different question, but what could they find? If he'd have been doing anything illegal, I guarantee somebody would have said something about it, and it would have come up in the last election because somebody would have wanted an opportunity to smear him and take his job. But it didn't happen that way, probably because there's nothing there. The Justice Department investigation into Toscano is focused on whether his policies are skewed to allow immigrant defendants to avoid deportation, which, again, we're talking about stretching the meaning of civil rights. Just listen to this sentence. Whether his policies are skewed to allow immigrant defendants to avoid deportation, which the department said may have discriminated against U.S. citizens in violation of the Civil Rights Act, because he didn't give American citizens the same opportunity to avoid getting deported. I don't know what.
I'm trying to follow along and I'm lost.
Yeah. I really don't understand. I mean, this is that thing where they're turning civil rights inside out, right? That, like,
yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Because he didn't have the Mexican shoplifter deported, that's unfair to the white shoplifter who got also convicted of the same thing. I don't know. I don't know. How come if the white people are like, how come we're not getting special treatment? You have a whole system set up for you. Yeah. It's like, remember when you walked down the street and nobody pulled you over for walking? There? Is that? I mean,
right.
Why are you not pulling over the Mexican guy for walking? I'm struggling to find a civil rights aspect here. I'm struggling to see where this case gets made. But yeah, so those are just 4 examples in the recent, like in this week, of the government using its prosecution and investigation powers to target and attempt to silence, either through intimidation or outright throwing in jail, its opponents. And that is called a police state. All right, Tez, explain.
I mean, and it's a couple things, right? If you think of Lucas, right, what's the biggest thing? Like, frustrated because, right, she starts this redistricting thing, right, with him. And then, again, all of you'll see the theme. And then she's also against the data centers, right?
Yep.
Tax exempts, right? So, right, that plays into, like, his whole deregulation of AI, and obviously the redistricting, even though it was started by Republicans, he's probably angry that Democrats decided to do it back. All right, cool. This last one, right, is like, again, that there's a discrimination against white people in a sense, right? I mean, in a weird way, right? This last one there for Toscano is like, all right, white people are being discriminated against, a big theme for the Trump administration. The first one, right? The first one we talked about, again, and we did a wild, funny way of explaining it, but what they're accusing the Southern Poverty Law Center of doing is sending agitators in here to rile up good old white people who have no racist bone in their body, but are basically being paid. Like, so again, like, that's another theme.
Manufactured extremism.
Manufactured extremism.
It's a crazy idea. Crazy idea.
I think, and then, right, the other one with Alex Preddy, and, like, again, surveillance happening and investigations happening against VA employees. the 5 that are left, or the 500 that are left. I think for me, one thing that's interesting is that Blanche is doing the complete opposite of what Blondie did. Actually, I'm gonna start calling them Bleach and Blondie. All
There
right,
you
so
go.
Bleach is doing the exact opposite of what Blondie is doing. Bleach is out here doing the exact thing Trump had asked for, right? Going in and actually starting to file these cases. I think what's unique though here, and I mean the Comey one is the big one, right?
Oh yeah.
The Comey's the big one, but I think he's trying to put enough of these out here early so that, because I don't see this to continue, because all of these are going to fail in court.
They're all going to fail.
They're all going to fail in court, but I think it's enough to run up like now and to keep the ire of Trump off of him. Because I think that was his frustration with Blondie, was that she wasn't actually filing these. I mean, maybe she did 2. Maybe I'm thinking of the ones that she pushed
Well,
through.
she did the ones that they for Comey and Tish James and
okay, and then and Lisa Cook. Okay, yeah. Again, all of the ones that failed. But this does seem that like Todd Bleach is on, like, I need to put as many of these out here fast so that the president feels like I'm actually doing his bidding.
You don't think he actually cares? He's just trying to get the job.
Yeah, push a couple of these out there. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know how he gets the job, because how does he get confirmed? You think he gets confirmed?
Yeah, I mean, they already don't seem to care about that. They'll just use these acting or interim roles, right, and then challenge anybody to go to court to take them out. But I think you're right in terms of what he's doing for his own personal. I think there's also a bit of a flood the zone aspect to this too.
Yeah.
That if they can file enough of these cases, even if they all get beat, every single one of them, the memory of Americans is pretty lousy when it comes to this kind of stuff, and they'll be able to just say, look at all these people, who have been charged with all this.
There'll be some government dashboard that people can go to or something.
Yeah. Look at all these people. And like, there is a false equivalency between charged and guilty in this country. People,
yeah,
because generally speaking, prosecutors don't bring cases they don't think they're going to win. Right? They only bring slam dunks because losses hurt their records. And so a lot of the time, charge means convicted. And you could say it's a symptom of an unfair justice system, which it definitely is. But you could also say that is kind of the selective. I don't know how to. All right, when you go to the beach and you see the claw game, right, at all the arcades on the boardwalk, right? Those things you're not going to win. You're almost never going to win. The only time to play is when you can see that you're gonna win. And so if you're somebody like me and I only play when I can see an easy solution where I'm gonna win, you'll look like, oh man, that guy's really good at the claw game. I'm not really good at the claw game. I just know when to not play. Prosecutors are like that. They're not necessarily great at nailing cases. They just know which ones not to take. These are all examples of cases that they should not take because they are not likely to win. So why are they doing this?
It's not, I mean, I don't think it's about winning. I think it's enough about bringing the case, at least for Donald Trump.
I think also because they don't care that they don't see a career after this, right? They're going to move from being prosecutors to doing something else that's more political hack than actual prosecution. They're not going to run for
Fox
office.
News contributor.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't matter that they get their bar card burned or whatever, because they're just not going to use it again. I think. I don't know.
Amazing.
It just doesn't seem like a winning strategy. But it does seem like what we're talking about, this is an intimidation campaign.
Yeah.
This is to try to get people like us to think, oh, well, they raided Louise Lucas's house. They're probably going to raid mine if I say all these things. So to be clear, Donald Trump is a criminal. He has been to Epstein's Island however many times. He's flown on the airplane. What he's doing over there is, anybody's guess. Kash Patel is a drunk idiot who hands out bourbon instead of business cards, which I'm pissed off that we didn't get any of. And come at me, bro. Let's see it. What else can we do here?
Right.
The democracy is over when this is one of the options. So
right, exactly. That's a good point there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, try to recover some democracy, and then we're going to come back and talk about the war or the journey or skirmish or excursion or mini war, whatever he's calling it this hour. It's really great. So yeah, stay tuned. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
Your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. Your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. My children aren't going hungry. I'll do it. I'll drink your blood. And I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up? I'm gonna haul him up by chain. Chop his ass up, size it up. I'm gonna haul him up by chain. Chop, 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 chop. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, "Oh, I killed a cow out back, baby." You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. That's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get my hands around your throat. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm going to say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life? Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. I don't like the frogs. Gay. Friggin' frogs. Frogs. Friggin' frog crap. Won't you fight the frogs? It's not funny. I'm going to say it real slow for you. Frogs. Place.
Frogs. Welcome to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping, everybody? Yes, as always, when we play those horrendous videos that we do sit here and laugh. We're laughing at him, not laughing with
Not
him.
with.
Not laughing at him. Along with that, that person that we're laughing at thinks that murdering small children is a false flag operation and didn't actually happen. So below, if you're watching with us online, you can please donate to the sandyhookpromise.org. That is sandyhookpromise.org. Please go and donate right now. Smash that donate button. And shout out to the Onion for finally finalizing the deal to purchase InfoWars. I'm very excited to see what they do there.
There you go. All right. So now their consciences are clean. Let's talk about a war.
Now it's dirtied up.
Yep. So before we get to the actual stories, let me just catch everybody up on the latest, which includes some of the dumbest fucking things the president has said yet. So basically, U.S. forces on Thursday launched a new round of military strikes on Iran in response to attacks on American warships. Officials said, casting fresh doubt on efforts by Washington and Tehran to reach a negotiated settlement that would end hostilities, which, as of earlier today, Trump had a one-page notice of memorandum of intent.
Notice of memorandum of intent is crazy.
I mean, what are we talking about here? The self-defense strikes, as they were called by the by CENTCOM, came after destroyers, all of which have great names: the Truxton, the Rafael Peralta, and the USS Mason. That's not that great a name. Were attacked with multiple missiles, drones, and small boats. According to CENTCOM, no American vessels were hit, the statement said. U.S. forces responded by striking Iranian military facilities deemed responsible. They included missile and drone launch sites, command and control locations, and positions from which Iranian forces were surveilling U.S. forces and gathering intelligence. You mean the guys on the shore with the binoculars? CENTCOM does not seek escalation, but remains positioned and ready to protect American forces, the statement said. Way to say nothing. In its own statement, the IRGC Navy said that it had launched an operation against 3 U.S. destroyers in retaliation for 2, quote, provocative actions by the U.S. military. The first, the statement said, was the U.S. attack on an Iranian oil tanker the day before. That's about enforcing the blockade. The U.S. was like, hey, you can't be here, ship. And it was like, make me. And so they shot its rudder out. And that was the make me. And the second was the destroyer's approach toward the Strait of Hormuz despite clear warnings. Iranian forces responded with a, quote, highly extensive and precise combined operation. That does not make sense. Those are not words that are useful. The statement said it involved a variety of weaponry, including anti-ship ballistic missiles, anti-ship cruise missiles. Here's where it gets very stupid. Trump, in a social media post, said that, quote, there was no damage done to the 3 destroyers, but great damage done to the Iranian attackers. He added, quote, that numerous small boats were sunk by U.S. forces and Iranian missiles launched at the destroyers were, quote, easily knocked down. They dropped ever so beautifully down to the ocean, Trump said, very much like a butterfly dropping to its grave. No, nobody talks like that. What?
Okay.
Yeah. Trump said that the destroyers had transited, quote, very easily out of the strait and whatever. Like a butterfly dropping to its grave? What?
Who uses butterfly and grave together?
Yeah, that's not a metaphor that anybody's ever heard of, man. Like, are you sure that's did you really pass that cognitive test? Was there a butterfly on that test? Are you sure? Okay. So that's now. Let's talk about some good report. Now, I want to, before I say this thing, I've got my feelings about the Washington Post and firing all of their staff.
Yes.
It's not good. I'm upset about that. I love my local paper. I want it to go back to what it was. And I know that's not going to happen, but I'm sad about it. On the other hand, they did just win a couple of Pulitzers.
Yeah.
And they've been getting some good scoops lately. So, stuff is happening. Here's one of those scoops. There's a Post exclusive that figured out that Iranian airstrikes have damaged or destroyed at least 228 structures or pieces of equipment at U.S. military sites across the Middle East since the war began, hitting hangars, barracks, fuel depots, aircraft, and key radar, communications, and air defense equipment, according to a Post analysis of satellite imagery. The amount of destruction is far larger than what had been publicly acknowledged by the U.S. government or previously reported. Brian, that's a fantastic graphic.
Right. I was going to say, it's so good. It's so orange.
It is so orange. Yeah, there you go. Also, that is how I envision every cabinet meeting. What do you mean you think they're little? And
I'm trying.
yeah, the Iranians, they love me. They love me so much. That's why they keep calling. They come up to me. They say, sir's a big, tall Iranian guy with a strong Iranian guy, tears streaming down his face. He says, sir, these fast boats, we sent them after your ships. You knocked them down like a butterfly going to his grave. I said, I know. Many people are talking about the butterflies in their graves. It's a very common phrase. Do you have that phrase in Iran? And the crying Iranian guy was like, no, sir, you invented it here in Iran.
You bombed all the butterflies.
Yeah. Well, as it turns out, the Iranian retaliation has been really a lot better than described. I'm not rooting for that. I want to be clear. I'm pissed off, right? Like okay, how do I put this and still not sound like the worst person in the world? My American exceptionalist attitude is that our military is so good and so advanced technologically that we can go and fuck with anybody, and I dare them to fuck with us. And I'm confident that they can't. But it turns out maybe they can. And so we should be a little more careful about who we fuck with. Like, we're good with fucking with like little terrorist organizations that don't have cruise missiles. But the Iranians have cruise missiles.
I would even go further to be like, I mean, we saw this in the original war, not original, multiple wars we had in the Middle East, but the last war in the Middle East, that specifically in Afghanistan, we weren't ready for kind of like that either insurgent or guerrilla style fighting. I don't think we were ready for that, and again, other wars as well. Here, it feels like, specifically with like, it feels that I'm even trying to figure out a way to. It's almost as if that the American military is kind of like this super fancy restaurant that has all the gadgets, all the fucking things to do it. These crazy meals it pushes out. But then you just prefer to go into the hole in the wall spot. It seems to be beating them out, right? And again, they're not putting a lot of money into it. Clearly not as much as the American as we put into our military, like me and you and the rest of the taxpayers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think that has been interesting, right? And another way to be, and it's not digital and analog really isn't the right way because it's really all digital at this point. But again, it's almost like someone has these like really expensive headphones, and maybe you have like a $20 pair of Sonys, but the $20 pair of Sony headphones are better than whatever expensive ass headphone it's out there. And I think you see that with the way they operate with these drones that they're using, right? These drones are very cheap comparatively to what we're using to even to take them down, to defend ourselves. We're spending a lot more defending against a cheaper munition that they're creating. And I found that to be very interesting. And I mean, yeah, in a sense, they are winning on that front alone.
Yeah, and it's maybe to complete your metaphor, if you've been on the road and you see like a car goes whizzing by, right? And it's like a Corvette, and then it's, it's like, okay, well, that's a big, expensive, Right. And then right behind it is a Corolla, like keeping up with it and chasing it down I-95. You're like, what the hell? How is that happening? Yeah, that's kind of what's going on. If you think about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, it was sort of a similar deal, right? The Russians, in that case, the Iranian drones were the expensive munitions. So the Russians were throwing $50,000 drones at the Ukrainians, and the Ukis were knocking them down with $1,300 drones
like
of their own,
store-bought type drones.
Initially, and then they started making their own, and they're even better at it. And they're even now exporting those to the Middle East, to the Gulf Arab states, as like defense against these drones because they're proven and they work. Right. So yeah, it is a asymmetrical cost benefit analysis here that the Iranians are attacking with relatively simple, relatively inexpensive munitions, and the U.S. and our allies are using very expensive things to shoot them down. But we're also apparently not shooting them down at the rate that we're saying that we are. So the threat of air attacks rendered some of the U.S. bases in the region too dangerous for staff at normal levels. They moved a lot of people out. and tried to put them in hotels within Bahrain and in UAE and
They're
Qatar.
blowing up hotels too, friends.
Yeah, and so then the Iranians find that out and they just target those hotels, which puts all of the rest of the stuff at risk. The other big problem is that there's an information gap going on. So satellite imagery of the Middle East is unusually difficult to acquire at present. Two of the largest commercial providers, Vantor and Planet, have complied with requests from the U.S. government, who is also their largest customer, to limit, delay, or indefinitely withhold the publication of imagery of the region while the war, not a war, is ongoing, making it difficult or impossible to assess Iran's counterstrikes and indeed their claims, right? The Iranians are like, oh no, we definitely hit this stuff. Those restrictions began less than 2 weeks into the war, but Iranian state-affiliated news agencies have from the start regularly published high-resolution satellite imagery on their social media accounts that claim to document the damage of the U.S. sites. How they're getting it is anybody's guess. And so
Russia.
Yeah, right. You could be, it's definitely Russia. You could, or China. You could write that off and be like, oh, well, the Iranians said this. Well, who trusts them? And we've said from the beginning that there's no trustworthy source in this war. The Israelis could say something, nobody trusts that. The Trump administration says it, definitely nobody trusts that. The Iranians say something, nobody trusts the fucking Iranians either. But for this examination that the Post did, one of the first comprehensive public accounts of the damage of the U.S. facilities in the region, the Post reviewed more than 100 high-res Iranian-released satellite images. The Post verified the authenticity of 109 of those images by comparing them to lower-res imagery from the European satellite system, which is called Copernicus, which is, I think, brilliant.
Good name.
Yep. As well as high-resolution images from Planet when they could get them. And the Post excluded 19 Iranian images from the damage analysis because comparisons to the Copernicus imagery were non-conclusive. They were inconclusive. Okay. No Iranian imagery was found to have been manipulated. So basically what they were able to prove by studying the images released by the Iranians, which probably came from the Russians, and comparing it to similar information that the Europeans have, they're like, oh, these Iranians are not lying about the damage done to the U.S. facilities all throughout the Middle East, which means only one thing, that the U.S. government is lying about the damage done to the facilities and U.S. stuff in the Middle East, which is not great when you've already got a war that's unpopular. You've got a president who's unpopular. The whole situation is bad. It smells like Vietnam, but it doesn't have the bone spurs.
Right.
I mean, this was not unexpected. Let me just say that. I was shocked, I tell you, to find out that the Trump administration is overtly lying about the damage done to our state. Oh no, we're fine. We're shooting down everything. Nothing's been hit. It's really minimal, because we saw some of those social media images, right, where people had filmed the missiles hitting the buildings and stuff, the fires. So it's like, they say that nothing's getting through, but it must be getting through. Something's getting through, right? I mean,
this is really going to come to a head, and we'll see it, is whenever China decides to invade Taiwan. And when we have a completely, again, a military that, before this, still had a lot of catching up to do to China in a variety of ways. But now this doesn't help, because this is, again, it's almost like you went to the gun range and you're just blowing away ammunition, but then an actual war happens, or you need to use your gun, and you're like, oh, where'd all my fucking ammunition go? Oh, well, you were just again, using it, and it maybe not even gun range, right? Because that's more controlled, right? But you're using this ammunition in a senseless war that you didn't have to.
And it doesn't just regrow. It's not a video game. It doesn't replenish because
you go run behind. Yeah, you run behind and see a little fucking ammo kit in it. No, this to make this shit.
You have to make it. You have to build it. You have to get the raw materials. You have to have the labor. You have to. I mean, there's a lot that goes into every one of these rockets or missiles or bombs that gets deployed. And yeah, the Chinese are just sitting here watching us wasting ammo on an opponent that they frankly don't care about, and that we didn't need. Yeah, I mean, gun range is I think maybe the right equivalent. It's almost like setting it off like it's fireworks as opposed to being real munition.
Yes, exactly.
Because we're just doing it for fun, I guess. There doesn't seem to be any goal here. Gun range are at least trying to get better at shooting, maybe. But yeah, I mean, this is like, oh, this is fun. We're gonna go launch a fake war against a mini war against Iran.
Excursion.
Skirmish. He's on to skirmish now. Nobody knows what a skirmish is. I invented the word skirmish. So also, I think this becomes a problem in Congress, right? So Trump hasn't gotten authorization for use of force in this. There is no authorization for use of force regarding Iran in this.
We just went over 60. We just went over what the 60-day threshold.
Gone over the 60-day mark that the War Powers Act limits the president from engaging after that. They got around that, or they think they've gotten around that by saying, though, that operation is over. We've started a new one, which they then canceled. It doesn't reset the clock, but that's never really been tested. We don't know how this would even go if the president violates this and continues to conduct a war without seeking authorization. Congress could refer it for prosecution to the Justice Department, but of course that's the same Todd Bleach. So
Bleach isn't doing all that.
They're not gonna act on that, and there's no mechanism by which Congress can actually hold them accountable apart from cutting off the money. And it's not clear that even that would work because the Trump people are willing to do things without being funded. Case in point, the entire DHS, which ran for a record long time without an appropriation.
Right.
And they didn't seem to care. That didn't stop them. They're just willing to work these guys to death. Now, will they be able to send troops out to fight without paying them? Harder question. But where this comes up, I think, in Congress is like, you have this reporting, you have this information. If you can be pretty confident that it's solid, you haul Hegseth in and go, all right, buddy, look at that. What's the answer? Why is this burnt? Why is there a hole where there was a airplane hangar a few minutes ago? And what are you doing to stop this? And then, it's a sort of like the Cuban Missile Crisis moment, right? Where it just becomes impossible to defend or ignore or obfuscate about because it's there and everybody can see it.
Yep.
So that could be a problem. The other thing that's weird about this not war is that Trump keeps saying that it's over and that we won. And then but still also needs $1 billion to conduct the war, $25 billion or whatever it is. So I don't think he understands what win means, probably because he doesn't win very often. But a day after announcing a pause in the military's new operation to clear a path for commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, halting a mission that had just begun, Donald Trump on Wednesday threatened that if Iran did not agree to his latest peace plan, U.S. bombing would resume, quote, at a much higher level, which we've now done. It's resumed at butterfly grave level.
Right, butterfly grave level. Butterfly grave levels. That's tough.
There you go. Butterfly grave level.
Yeah.
You want to say grade level. I know you do.
Great. Yes, exactly. Grade level is exactly what I say.
Yes.
Butterfly grade level. That's what these people are on.
You got to figure out how well the butterflies can read, man. Are they at grade level or are they at Mississippi?
No, that means they're above.
Yeah, that means they're better than
it makes it better than the country.
Are they at the district level? No.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
Massachusetts ain't looking good either.
Yeah. They have a disadvantage. All right. People in New England don't really speak English and probably therefore can't read. And so it's harder for them to pass those tests because they don't speak the same language as the rest of us.
Fair point.
I don't know what to tell you.
Fair
That is a whole different. I lived there for a couple of years. Let me tell you, New England is like another country. It is a country made of Dunkin' Donuts and Subway. Those are the so ubiquitous there that you can literally see from one Subway to the next. That is
Crazy.
is true, and you can see from one Dunkin' to both Dunkins in either direction. So yeah, then he said this like insane, stupid thing. Okay, Trump said that Iran had already accepted at least part of the U.S. proposal, and this is a few hours ago. He's like, they've already accepted the deal, and then he's just waiting on exchange of documents or something.
Facts.
And he's like, well, what did they agree on, and who are you talking to, and why? And he's like, never mind. And then he says this thing: we have to get what we have to get. Trump told reporters at the White House, expanding on an earlier social media post. If we don't do that, we'll have to go a big step further, but they want to make a deal. We've had very good talks over the last 24 hours. And now we're back to bombing. So I don't know. Also, the deal that I guess there was like some hints at was a moratorium on nuclear enrichment that was shorter than the JCPOA covered and had more sanctions relief than the JCPOA gave. So like, and it wanted the straits reopened. So we lost nuclear deal, but worse.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Yeah, the fact, no matter what deal you put forward, because we have to do this to reopen the strait, it's a bad deal. It's worse than Obama's deal. No matter what.
Pakistani mediators pressed both sides to, quote, differentiate between what is urgent and what is important, said the former Pakistani senator who served on the Foreign Relations and Defense Committees.
At work. What's urgent and what's important?
What is urgent is the Strait of Hormuz because that affects international shipping, the international economy, global energy. And what's important is the nuclear issue. That's a great way of describing this.
Yeah.
But I want to be expressly clear about something. This didn't need to be the point from which we're negotiating. What was in place at the time that Trump tore it up in Trump 1.0 was a deal where, first of all, the strait was open the entire time.
Always.
It had never been closed. And what the deal was sanctions relief. It was sanctions to bring Iran to the table for the JCPOA in the first place. They were crushing and they were effective. And the deal was that they would behave their damn selves, not enrich past a certain amount, submit to all of these inspections and stuff.
International inspections.
And if they didn't, the sanctions would snap back into place, and Russia and China couldn't stop them, and they had agreed to this deal.
Right.
Which is an incredible achievement that Kerry came up with to get this thing where it was. Iran agreed to do the thing. Russia and China agreed not to stop the thing. And there was an automatic, like, snapback provision that would cause this stuff to happen regardless of any objection by anybody else. That's remarkable.
Yep.
And it was working. It was working. Now, there are people who will tell me that it wasn't working, that the Iranians were subverting this, that they were doing all these things, that they were, the Russians were doing all this stuff secretly. That might be true, but where is the evidence of that? You can't just say things. You can't just assert things. If the IAEA doesn't show any evidence of this stuff, if they can account for every gram of uranium, where it is and what level,
they're the inspector,
right? You know, they're go find me where they lost track of anything. That would tell you that but there wasn't this. None of this was a problem. This was a not problem. Trump created the problem by tearing up the deal and negating any trust or confidence that the world had in America to keep its promises. And then when that obviously led to Iran being like, well, fuck it, the Americans weren't serious, we're going to race to a bomb. then we're in a bad situation. And his choice to deal with it isn't to be like, all right, we fucked up. Let's try to get JCPOA back. That was our mistake, and own it. It was to bomb them, which made them even more upset and worried, and then bomb them again. And then to negotiate for what? What?
For a worse deal.
For a worse deal. And you watch him do these negotiations sort of live on Twitter, where he's changing his mind sentence by sentence within the same post. It's kind of hard to watch because you're like, how can you be this bad at negotiating anything? I mean, to be perfectly,
he was never ever a good businessman.
No, we know that. What I'm saying is I'm watching him do this and I'm thinking he probably couldn't manage to like order ice cream. Like,
because someone else does it for him.
Pepperoni pizza.
Yeah. Do you want it on the whole pizza or half the pizza? You know what? I want it on the whole pizza, but I'm going to bomb you until you put it on a quarter of the pizza. That he would lose at calling Domino's. Could you imagine somebody being so bad at negotiation that they would lose to an automated voice on a like cable bill?
Mm-hmm.
Are you calling about billing or something else? I'm calling about billing. Right. Okay. How can we help you? My bill, it's too high. All right. I hear your bill is too high. Would you like me to raise your bill? Yes. I would like you to raise my bill. That's what he's doing.
Yes, that's how bad it is. So.
Why is that happening?
Because we all know that he did not set up this whole situation, meaning the initial deal that was done. It was Obama.
Yeah,
that's his problem.
That's why he's mad about it.
He's always mad about we all know that everything he's dismantling, crashing, whatever, and complaining about is whatever Obama did. And I'm like, because he set it up for everybody to benefit, to everyone to prosper. And that deal with Iran was fine. And he pulled us out twice. And this go around is just ridiculous. It's just like you have no plan, no structure, no ideology to how to fix this. I said it before and I'll say it again. You're trying to put a circle in a square block. It does not work.
I think, didn't we say back at the time of when he tore up the deal, something like, what if we just let him call it the Trump-Iran nuclear deal?
Yeah, same deal.
And then he would get to put his name on it, and like that would be better for the world. Like, and the whole world would have been like, that's fine. Let him, he can put his name on it as long as he doesn't fuck it up. Like, would that have been an option? Could we make that an option?
No, because he didn't structure it. He didn't build the relationships. He didn't
build any of his other stuff either. He just stuck his stupid name on it and took credit for it.
But I think for him, it's he wants more quote unquote hands-on in a sense. And he's hands-on this one.
Those would be tiny hands-on.
Yes, those real tiny hands. I'm surprised he can reach for anything.
That's why Marco Rubio's ears have grown so much since he's been in the cabinet, with Trump's little tiny hands hanging on him all the time.
Yeah, you can put one of those loopholes in there or whatever.
Yeah, right. He can gauge him out. By the way, have you seen Trump's hands lately?
Yes.
They are caked in makeup.
Yeah, they're hiding something.
Well, they're hiding the bruising and the swelling, and I mean, it looks ridiculous, but look at the color of it. Like, it's not even good makeup. You'd think that they could. Can he go over to Hegseth's spot where he's got his makeup room and like get that done professionally? It looks hideous. It's laughable, man.
Especially for a TV man.
Well, he's
like, he comes off of TV. Like, they should be able to go find people who do makeup for television.
Yeah, you would think.
Shouldn't be hard.
He's got all. I mean, the federal government can get good makeup. They've been dressing up white supremacy for a really long time.
If Sam and Alito can get like
top
tier skiers to go along with him on his ski trips. I'm sure we can find like the best makeup artist in America.
Exactly.
Which was crazy to hear that. That's a wild report.
Yes. Well, he got tired of fishing. You know, he needed to do something else for fun. Mrs. Alito was skiing upside down on the slope, of course.
I knew that was going there.
Yeah,
I knew that was going.
That's a flag joke. All right, you want to talk about a little more retribution?
Yeah, let's bring it back. Retribution part 2.
All right, let's get back to some retribution. So the U.S. Agency sues the New York Times, accusing it of bias against white male employees. So the U.S. Equal Opportunity, the EEOC attacked. This is an insane story. The EEOC sued the New York Times on Tuesday, alleging that the news organization violated federal law by passing over a white male employee for a promotion. Think about what you're saying for a minute. You didn't get the job, so you're going to the EEOC to claim that it was because you're white. What? And it's a big organization like the Times. If you were both equally qualified, guess what would have happened? They would have made 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Right? That happens. It happens a lot.
Hire them both. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Here's this incredible quote here. No one is above the law, including, quote, elite institutions. Chair Andrea Lucas said in a statement, wrote in a statement, I guess, there is no such thing as reverse discrimination. All races or sex discrimination is equally unlawful according to a long-established civil rights principle. Right. She continued that federal law is clear, making hiring or promotion decisions motivated in whole or in part by race or sex violates federal law. There is no diversity exception to that rule. Again, right. The lawsuit filed in federal court in Lower Manhattan alleges that the Times violated Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and a bunch of other things when it hired somebody. I'm still struggling to understand like what the argument here is.
Yeah,
the New York Times categorically rejects this meritless and politically motivated allegation that the Trump administration's EEOC is pursuing against us, said the Times spokeswoman. What's her name? Danielle Rhodes Ha? I thought that was like a typo. Danielle Rhodes Ha. She wrote in a statement. She was clearly a diversity hire. Throughout the process, EEOC deviated from standard practices in highly unusual ways, blatantly weaponizing a traditionally independent government body to serve a predetermined narrative. The white male employee sought a job as deputy real estate editor, according to the lawsuit, and lost to a multiracial female candidate without direct experience covering real estate, which therefore means that she's unqualified, I guess. Neither race nor gender played a role in this decision, Rhodes Haas said in a follow-up statement. Tuesday, we hired the most qualified candidate, and she is an excellent editor. This is a crazy thing. Okay, I hire a lot of people, right? You do this too. When I get a resume and what I'm looking for is like, do you have the skills that I need for you to do this job? And some of it might be, okay, this guy's got a lot of experience in plumbing and residential plumbing. Is that going to translate to what I need, which is commercial plumbing? And sometimes the answer is no, it's not, because it's just not the right skill set. Whereas somebody who has a lot of experience in commercial HVAC might translate into that plumbing role, because commercial HVAC and commercial plumbing are much more similar things. And so with the first guy who is a quote unquote plumber say it's not fair that he didn't get considered for the job, but this guy who isn't a quote unquote plumber did get considered for the job. Me as the employer, I'm just looking at the skill set and saying, oh, this is the thing that I need. this is bizarre to me. There was one commissioner who objected to this. Kalpana Kotagal, the sole Democrat on the commission, voted against authorizing the lawsuit. While everyone is entitled to employment protections under the law, she said in a post on social media, the mere existence of a DEI policy is not enough to demonstrate misconduct.
Right.
She also questioned the motivations behind the lawsuit. Quote, regrettably, I fear this litigation is driven not by the merits, but by a desire to advance the administration's political agenda, which weakens civil rights protections for workers and undermines employer efforts to advance equal employment opportunity.
For white people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Dude, if you're so qualified, go get another job. Like,
Yeah, you probably get more wages and everything, you know.
Yeah. How do we know that you didn't get your real estate editor job that you currently have because you're white? And this person didn't get a similar job because they're not white or male or so.
I thought he was going to protect the black jobs.
I thought what is a black job, right? Remember, he was like,
right,
we love black jobs. Real estate editor, apparently.
Yeah.
Is a black job? Dude, I don't think I understand this. I'm starting to feel like my brain is splitting from my mind.
Yeah, any of these retribution cases, my brain is hurting.
It's just giving me a headache. I'm not getting it. This one's about Georgia. A federal judge on Thursday rejected a request from local officials in Georgia to order the return of key evidence seized in part of the FBI investigation into the state's counting of the 2020 election. So we're now nearly 7 years after this election, and Trump is still trying to prove that he did in fact win in 2020 in Georgia, which he did not. And he needs what, 11,781 votes.
An ally confirmed this as well too in Kemp. I mean, an ally of his.
Yes, right,
Yeah.
exactly. The entire Georgia election and governor office, Secretary of State's office, they're all like deep red Republicans. And they all said over and over and over, there isn't any fraud here and that this has to stop. And Trump's response in all of those cases was to label them as traitors and direct his mob to try to threaten them, which they did. And some of those people ended up getting tried and convicted for threatening various election officials in the state of Georgia. So, of course, the FBI, Kash Patel's FBI, goes and gets a warrant and seizes all of these ballots and stuff from Georgia, from Fulton County, which the only reason they were able to do that is because there was a pending lawsuit already going on about this, which meant that those ballots, which should have already been discarded, were still available because they had been preserved as evidence. What they used to get the warrant is unclear, but the Fulton County officials went to court trying to basically get this stuff back, and they were told no. U.S. District Judge J.P. Booley, great name, J.P. Booley, said that he found some aspects of the FBI affidavit submitted to obtain the search warrant, quote, troubling, but he concluded that officials in Fulton County had not proven their rights were, quote, callously disregarded, either through defects in the search warrant obtained to seize the more than 600 boxes of materials related to that, including original ballots, or through the way that the search was carried out. Basically, these guys they filled out their paperwork, right? So I can't. Yeah. I think they did work out some deal where Fulton County can like go through these things electronically maybe and see them that way. But you know what's happening here, right? The FBI grabbed all this shit. They're going to doctor it up in some way, and they're going to claim there was fraud in there and say that, no, we found the real crime and everything else is just trying to cover it up.
You're spot on there.
I mean, what are we going to do about that? How do you handle that? How do you refute that? They've got all the evidence. You don't even have the originals to say like, hey, look, this is what they doctored. I hope somebody accidentally copied some of that somewhere. Lordy, I hope there's tapes.
Hope so.
Okay, let's talk about something you're the expert in.
Yes.
Golf.
Yeah, golf. It's golf.
And a very specific kind of golf.
Very specific type of golf.
Look at these dead ass birds.
There you go.
Yeah, you
We're
know,
talking about golf on the public courses, of which there are 3 federal Park Service public courses in the District of Columbia. So this is the most Tez topic you could possibly imagine.
It is the most. And what are those 3 courses? So they are, like, I would say, almost my home course, which is down the street from where I grew up, in Rock Creek Park. You have Rock Creek Park course off of 16th Street. You have the world-renowned, like I would say, legendary black course, Langston, which sits off of Benning Road. And is really kind of attached to the Arboretum in a sense, right? So kind of
an
extension
I think
of
it's actually a part. Isn't it a part of the Arboretum? I mean, it's the same.
It's the same thing. You can't get to it, but it's like it's a separate thing. But it is all of that. Like the grounds of it is so part of it,
and it's beautiful as a result.
Beautiful, yeah, it's just completely beautiful. And then you have, which without any renovations, but they're going through renovations or in the process of trying to do renovations prior to some of this shit. You have East Potomac. Which again, Haynes Point, which most folks know. I mean, that course has been there for years. And it's just beautiful, right? It sits out into the Potomac. Sometimes it's not the best because you might have like a boat horn in your backswing, but regardless, like it is, it's
or
very
an airplane right over your head, or
those ones you get those ones
are circling.
Yeah, the air ones, it's fine. I feel like I've come accustomed to those ones. It's just the boat making the sound is always a crazy one. What you might not know is, though, the connection between the White House's East Wing being going through its demolition, and the specific course, East Potomac, that sits in Haynes Point. And what ended up happening is the public golf course had tested positive for lead, chromium, and other toxic metals, right? And why might this be happening? What they're doing is they demolish the East Wing. They are taking the debris and they are moving it onto this golf course. Now, specifically at East Potomac, they have 3 courses. And I want to say this sits on the white. Yes, yeah. I want to say this sits on the white course. From what I've seen over there, I think it sits on the white course. So yeah, if you're not aware, Park Service had begun dumping this debris from the East Wing onto the golf course back in October. We have more than 30,000 cubic yards of excavated soil, right, has been transported to the site over the last month. And that comes from this engineering group out of Virginia, I believe. Yeah, the Virginia engineering firm. I forgot the actual name of this firm here, but Jacobs Engineering Group. That's who it is there.
But it's toxic.
It's toxic, yeah, and clearly, right, because the White House, it's not the newest building. And any building that you end up, I would say in DC, that you end up demolishing would end up having toxic chemicals in it, right? So there's a nonprofit, DC Preservation League. They're suing the Trump administration, and they're arguing that it's unlawful and possibly hazardous. Clearly, right? If it's already been tested. And they're charging, which I think is unique, they're charging Republican administration's takeover of the golf course. And there's a lot of legal battles around just Trump in general in this city, just when it comes to public spaces, right? You got the Kennedy Center, right? You got this fucking arch that he's trying to build next to the Lincoln Memorial, and then obviously what he's trying to do with these golf courses. And then last year, right, the preservationists have filed lawsuits, right, trying to prevent him from demolishing the East Wing to build this ballroom. So again, I mean, you might say, well, the ballroom, no, that's a public thing as well, too, right? It's a people's house. But the Department of the Interior oversees all the golf courses, which again does fall under his purview in a sense, right? Department, as I understand it, right? That's that's an executive branch. It's under the executive
Department
branch.
of Interior.
Yeah, but that's under the executive branch.
Yeah,
right?
It's Department of Interior. That's executive branch, but it's administered by the National
Links Trust
region.
Yes,
Yeah, and
it's
then
administered by them, and then they've contracted that out to the National Links Trust, which I would say in using these courses has done an amazing job. Actually, I will give them
yeah,
that.
basically there's a nonprofit that's
Yeah.
the National Links Trust who administers and runs the course for the Park Service. They're the ones that collect the greens fees or whatever, and they're the ones who pay for the upkeep and all of that stuff. So the Park
And a
Service
lot of
is
upkeep.
like, yeah.
Here's what-
The Park
it's
Service
not-
is technically in charge, but they're not
Yeah.
really like out of pocket for any of this.
Yeah, I mean, there are groups. I mean, I think Langston is obviously one of the ones where you'll see that they've not only improved the golf course, but specifically like the habitat that's around it. So they've removed like a lot of times I would play golf, like specifically at Langston, you would see like local groups, kids going down along kind of the watershed that's there. It sits off the Anacostia and Langston, like moving like invasive species and things of that nature. They're cutting down stuff. So again, they have been improving the courses, specifically the East Potomac, though. I want to say this initially started by saying that they basically haven't been moving fast enough to do the improvements. The initial reason this all jumped off. And I think that again is obviously
the initial
cover for
attack that the Trump administration used. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a cover story. Trump wants to seize control of the golf courses.
Which,
and so
of course,
his initial attack, of course he does, because that's the thing he cares about. The initial attack was that the Park Service and the Links Trust were not moving fast enough on these renovations, and that they were doing a bad job of it, and that he, of course, would be able to do a better job of it. And so then they canceled the lease. That was one of the things that they did. And so I think that's also the next story on this, on the doc here, is that they canceled the lease, and then that's now in court because a federal judge ordered that they had to go back. Basically, that was about the work stoppage. That's a whole nother.
There's so many of these; it's hard to keep up.
So he cancels the lease. That's in court. They're fighting about that. Then they start dumping the dirt on the course, contaminating it, which I think is part of the plan to get the lease canceled, because then they're going to say, oh, well, it's contaminated. We need to remediate all of this, and we can't let
the property.
Yeah, we just need to destroy everything around here and go through a cleanup phase, which, of course, they've never cared about cleaning up anything environmental anyway.
Right.
And then there's the question of the judge's order because like then the Trump people were like, well, we're just going to renovate it without anybody's permission. And so then the Links Trust and some other folks went and sued over that. And the judge basically put a stop to it and said, no, you can't do anything. I think she had a line in there of like, if anything comes to the course that's bigger than my sedan, I need to know about it. But I think that's ineffectual. I don't see what they're going to be able to do if they violate her order. What happens?
Right.
We're at this point again where the court system has no method of enforcement about any of this stuff. I mean, look, we could talk about the mechanisms here all we want. What does this mean to golfers in the district, and specifically non-country club golfers, and even more specifically, black golfers in the district?
I think it's interesting, right? I think you will, one, see a influx of people leaving East Potomac to go to Langston, right? Which just causes, again, it becomes more traffic there. And like, I actually, oddly enough, this year I haven't played on any of these courses yet, as I haven't been able to find the time. So I haven't even been able to see. I've seen it like driving around there and being over in East Potomac Park, but I haven't actually been on the courses to see them. I think it goes back to a larger thing, I think, in DC of local control, right? And at any moment, right, you just don't have this type of control, whether it's the council, whether it's the Links Trust, like running these things here. The federal government is still the boss here, no matter what. And I think you got to always remember that, because when you have an administration that wants to flex that, and we've had them in the past, they will. But yeah, I think, again, municipal golf or muni golf, right, is, I think, a unique thing in this country. Like it allows a game that is obviously really kind of out of reach for a lot of people, right? It's extremely expensive to play golf. Like, and if you look at even if you look at public courses in other places around this area, I mean, you could easily spend on a weekend $100 for 18 holes, like upwards of $100, like easily.
Yeah, I mean, I played the courses in Northern Virginia, and I think the greens fees there are like, $35 or something like that. So if you play a couple rounds,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can spend a lot of money on that. And where if Donald Trump was doing some, like, if he would just wanted to, like, let's just say he was a private citizen, right? And he was like, hey, you know what, guys? As like philanthropy, like, I want to go ahead in here and like assist with like be an advisor to these golf courses. I might not have a problem with that. I might not have a problem. Yeah, sure. But again, when the president of the United States is flexing on the federal district that doesn't have really true control, and then specifically with East Potomac Park, like, I think in that story it mentions the creation of this damn park. Like, you might be violating the law on that alone, right? Where is it in this story? 1 second on here. Where it might have been in the second story here. But basically, this park was, right, when it was created, it's literally made for like recreation of people, right? So in a sense, and I think it's in the second story, like you're removing that ability, and that alone might be something that the courts catch you on. Again, you have the better point in the sense that if the courts do rule against him, like, what does that mean? Specifically, like with a golf course, right? Of all things, like.
Well, what if they do rule against him and he just does what he wants anyway?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what are you going to do?
What can you do?
Yeah, I don't think there's any recourse there.
If he violates a judge's order, right? So if she says don't move any heavy equipment onto the course, and they'd show up with an excavator tomorrow, she's going to be like, hey, you violated my court order. I'm holding you in contempt. And they're going to be like, all right, who do you refer that prosecution to, lady?
Send it to U.S. Marshals, right?
No, she sends it to the DOJ to prosecute.
To prosecute, okay, yeah.
And then they're going to be like, okay, we'll get to that eventually. Click, and then they're not going to do it. And then there's no contempt actually enforced. There's no mechanism to hold the court order. What Madison and them could never conceive of is somebody outright disobeying the court order.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what do you mean you're just going to not do it? So, to your point, this is supposed to be golf that's accessible for the people, and it's and let's expand it from not just golf, but like all of these public amenities that exist in public places, whether it's at the state level or the county level or regional level. They exist because recreation is important and the community wants these things to be there. Imagine if Trump was out here talking about we need to tear up playgrounds because playgrounds are a problem and the way that they're being run is a problem. And I don't like the look of these playgrounds and they should have more gold on them or whatever. Or imagine if it was like, the ice rink at Fort DuPont Park, or like, what are you going after? What is the thing here that bothers you? Why are you attacking this? And it's not renovation and it's not improvement. He's not offering them a boatload of money. Here's an example of how Trump like looks at public amenities. There is a ice skating rink in New York in Central Park that he used to have his name on because they had sponsored, the Trump organization had sponsored something, at this place. And then it goes for a renovation and it comes out of it. And they're like, we're not gonna have names of anybody on the walls or anything anymore, but you can still support the park the ice rink if you want to. And Trump goes no, and he takes his name right. He takes his money out of it all together because he does. It never was about the ice skating rink to him. It was just an ad buy. That's his approach to public amenities. They're not public. They're just opportunities for him to make money or steal money.
And you know, it's interesting here in the case where, as a business owner, if you do that, right, we don't frown upon like naming rights or putting your name on shit as a business.
If you pay for it.
If you pay for it, right?
Right.
But when you do this in the government, it's just fascism.
Yeah.
It's an authoritarian playbook, right? At that point. So it's like, it's just, again, it's the venue. Him putting it on all his buildings, have a blast.
Sure.
Like whatever. But yeah, when you do this in the federal government, because again, it's not yours, it's ours.
Where do the bullets play?
Oh God, yeah. Capital One.
Right. You know why they play Capital One? Because they paid
pays a lot of
more money than Verizon. And you know why they used to play at Verizon? Because they paid more money than MCI.
No, MCI went out of business too.
Okay, well, whatever. Like,
thus not being able to pay more money than Verizon.
Why was the Cap Center called US Air Arena?
Arena, because US Airways was
because US Air paid to put their fucking name on it. Trump doesn't pay to put his name on these things. He orders his name to be put on them. That's fascism.
Yeah, it's fascism. Yeah.
And you would have thought the golf thing would have been this thing where he could have been like, this is an opportunity for him to gain some brownie points.
Yeah.
Like, he's a golfer. Okay. He loves golf. He's not a good golfer.
He's not. And golfers are conservative too. Like, across the board for most of them. Like, I would, and I could see him going down to Langston on a certain vibe. And I think there would be reaction to folks like, and it sounds crazy. I do think you could see, like, there would be some weird bedfellows on, like, and again, some uncomfortability.
A situation where Trump shows up at Langston and says, the greens fees are on me for today for everybody who plays, and then goes and plays around a golf, you know, and just as he's going, right?
He's a legend in the clubhouse when he comes back. It's crazy.
And he just goes to each hole he goes to, and he goes, mind if I join your foursome for this hole? And like plays through the whole course, playing a hole at a time with different groups
on
of people.
Saturday would be crazy.
Yeah, the photo op.
Actually, we do have footage of what might happen.
And I was going to say, let me show you why he isn't going to do that. Brian, you got the footage?
Yep, here we go.
Okay. That was him dancing. I don't know why that. Okay, now watch him putt. He's lining up the putt. And he's more doing it. All right. Fortunately, there's another ball. There he goes. Got try number 2. Absolutely way off. Not would not qualify. And number 3. This is wide by a foot. So yeah, he's not good.
What happened to the one black kid?
What happened to him?
Dude, I don't know. They disappeared. They literally disappeared from that.
He's in Venezuela now.
Oh God.
Okay, so you see, that's why he's not doing it, right? Because it would expose everything. Instead of having this as an opportunity where he could look like a regular guy and be fun and cool, and people would say, all right, he does all this horrible shit, but you know, when he had a chance to like connect with the people and play golf with them, he did. He doesn't want to do that.
That is what people want from their politicians, which is crazy.
It is what they want.
It's not what I want, but it is what people
I know everybody wants to have a beer with W. W doesn't drink, but Obama drinks beer and he's cool. And I guarantee you, Obama would play round after round at Langston with everybody there,
and probably rip some cigarettes too. A
Yeah.
safe place. A safe
Yeah.
place.
Michelle's not looking. Yeah. And he'd drink a beer or two or six, you know. I mean, and he'd pee in the woods.
I just don't. This is a slam dunk for Trump, to be honest. There's a way he could have went about this. And I swear that people, if he had an actual genuine approach to this about rehabilitating these golf courses, because I think about how much money he could direct to them. Like,
oh yeah,
it'd be crazy.
It would be a slam dunk. It would be so easy for him to even personally cut a check to cover like lawn care for a year.
Yeah.
Right. He could do that and be like, you know what? Stick my name on the tractors while they're out there. That's fine. But like, I just want everybody to know that I did this.
Done really well.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a great year. The market. Have you seen the stock market? It's over 500. The SP 500, the Dow. It's so high. We don't even care about sex offenders anymore. It's so high. And like, he could have done that. Could have done that. He didn't do that. Didn't do that at all.
At all.
Instead, he dumped toxic metals on a fucking public golf course. It's like a Captain Planet villain.
Really, he is.
You know, like in that show, the like the bad guys, they never had any like real motivation. They would just be like, I'm gonna destroy this forest. Ha ha ha. And then the Planeteers would be like, we're gonna stop you from doing it. And it wasn't like, well, I'm going to accidentally destroy this forest while plowing in things for farmland because I think I can make some money and also feed a bunch of people. It wasn't like a like side effect of development. It was just like mean for the sake of mean villain. That's kind of what he's doing here. He's like, I'm just going to dump this toxic metal on your fucking golf course, you plebes.
He is a combination between hoggish greedily
and
loot and plunder. Like
there you go.
He's between, and again, all the Captain Planet villain names were really good. I'll give a couple of other ones. Captain Pollution, which is just the other version.
Yeah.
Sly Sludge.
Yes.
Duke Nukem, which I didn't know was an actual.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. Dr. Blight.
Yes. Classic.
Verminous Scum.
Yes.
Loot and Plunder is so
Loot
good.
and Plunder is my favorite one.
Loot and Plunder is so
good. And Hoggish Greeley had like a piggy snout look to him too, right? He looked like a pig.
Because Hoggish Greeley, Trump probably would favor him, but again, Loot and Plunder, as his bio goes by, considers himself a suave businessman. He rarely gets his hands dirty. Instead, he prefers relying on others to do the dirty work for him while he watches from afar and profits from the results. Plunder represents the evils of unethical business action. He is literally
what?
I swear I'm reading this. Money is Plunder's main motive. He often finds corruption and weakness and exploits them for his own gain. Plunder doesn't care about human or environmental suffering, so long as cash continues to enter his pockets. It's so good. He tries his hands in most things: illegal hunting, poaching, deforestation, habitat destruction, and nefarious exploitations of technology. Like, this is crazy.
This show is from the early 90s, by the way.
Exactly. It's before all of this. Plunder,
thank you, Ted Turner.
Yeah, thank
right.
you, Ted Turner.
Exactly. This is a Ted Turner.
This is a Ted Turner product. One of my favorite shows, actually. Plunder,
I love Captain Planet.
It was so good. I just can't keep reading this because it's too spot on. I'm gonna read this to somebody, and I'm gonna be like, "Who are they talking about?"
Yeah,
like, who is this person? And
who is this person? And they're gonna be like,
"Oh,
well, it's clearly Trump." And you're gonna be like, "No, this is a fictitious villain from the Captain Planet show from 1992."
That is so good,
man. What a
Loot and Plunder. Such a good
I think we're gonna have to do a Captain Planet marathon in honor of the Mouth of the South.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, I think that puts us to the end of the show.
6 seasons. Captain Planet is crazy.
Yeah, it was a great show.
6 seasons. Yeah.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Go Planet!
We are Planeteers. You can be one too.
Yes.
In our planet is a thing to do. Looting and polluting is
It's not the way.
Here with Captain
Captain
Planet
Planet has to
has
say. The power,
is yours.
Yes.
I'm gonna start ending the show like that.
Man, that shit sticks.
It's so good. I haven't
thought that rhyme in 30-something years. And it's still like
immediately. I was like, it clicked
crispy
immediately.
fresh.
Because I watched that show so much.
I watched it all the time.
All
I mean,
the
it was
time.
on every day, and I watched
Yeah, it was on every day.
Yeah, and I watched it every weekend, I guess. I don't know. I watched
I
it
think
all the time.
I think it was an afternoon slot show. I want to say it's either 3:30 to 4, and then Power Rangers came on after that for my generation.
Yeah,
on
Fox, on Channel 5.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember. Yeah. All right. Well, we've come to the end of the show, so we want to say thank you to our radio partners, Trump National, Trump Doral, and Trump Mini Golf, where the course is made for tiny hands. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week, maybe. Haven't checked. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as Susan Collins. All right, where can everybody get you on the socials?
You can find me on Blue Sky, dealing with everybody who's insufferable. At DC Cortez.
Right. All right. And you can find me and the show on the Twitter at ChipChatRR, where we will be doing our best Ted Turner impressions. Also, catch clips of me from the Ish Talk show, apparently, that we did an episode of a couple weeks ago. It was one of the wildest fucking things I've ever been a part of. And I've been on that show several times, and each time I come away with that. This was insane stuff. There's a clip. You can go look at it. I don't even know what's happening in that clip. So, yeah. And you can find the show on the Instagram and the Facebooks at Rip Chip Chat. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway and Rip Radio at 9:30 Eastern time. I have to give too many details now. This is just you're already listening to the show. You know how to find us. Hang out. We'll be here. We'll be back next week. I'm Chip. That's Tez. Brian somewhere in the background. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Early night sweeps.
Street balls.
I hope you enjoy